Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and it's Women's History Month, and I'm here today to talk to you about Anne of Green Gables, A Good Star. So this is the second installment of the Canadian version of the series that aired on PBS. And it came out in 2017 alongside that of Netflix's A with an E. And coming into this movie, I didn't really know what to expect because Anne with an E deviated here and there from that of the source material, introducing elements that was never in the novels and stuff. So I never really knew what to expect from like something that's a little bit more closer to that of the source material because the granddaughter of like L.M. Montgomery, she produced these PBS movies, and she was not influenced, but heavily instrumental in the script and stuff like that. And so these are the ones that star that of Ella Ballantine, and so with these movies, or with this movie, I should say, we see Anne about to turn 13. And, she's starting to, go through puberty, start liking boys now, and, stuff like that. Like I said before, these movies are more brighter, uplifting than the Anne with an E. The Anne with the E is more darker, but it goes into more detail. That's what I like about Anne with the E, because it was an actual TV series as opposed to that of a TV movie that's an hour and 25 minutes, because they have to leave a lot out. And so, but Anne with the E, they're able to add in more and go into more details about stuff. But like I said before, I really didn't know what to expect from this movie because, Anne with the E was so much different by the second season. And with this movie, the Gold Star, it's still G-rated. So it's very much kiddie kind of, but it's more pleasant. It's more of a family film and experience than that of Anne with the E. So, if the dark one isn't for you, then you got this lighter version and stuff. I do feel like they went through some of the stuff a little too quickly. Like, one problem I have with this movie is that they will introduce an element from like the novel, and then they will rush through it like really, really fast. And you won't really get to see anybody's true emotions and stuff because they went through it so fast. Like the whole Josephine Barry thing when Anne woke her up by mistake. It was a hilarious scene, but after she woke her up, it just went to like the next morning and Anne's back home and baking with Marilla, and it's just kind of like, sorry about that, my camera died. She's baking with Marilla, and then it's kind of like, well, what the heck happened from last night? Like all that commotion and stuff, and then we find out, through like a very quick scene of what Anne did and how Marilla got mad. And it's kind of like I wanted to go more into detail about that, but the movie is only an hour 25. It's not even a full 90 minutes. Heck, it's not even a full 85 minutes and stuff. And that's like an animated movie time slot. So I wish it was a bit longer. I mean, it's on PBS for crying out loud. And not only that, but something I've noticed, a lot of the characters in this movie don't seem as well developed as they were in the last. Like, there's a lot of stuff that, yes, do go on in this movie, but it feels like nothing's really happening as opposed to that of the first movie where a lot of stuff was happening. And the first one was a bit more dramatic because Anne was more of a motor mouth and everything. Where now she's calmed down, she's integrated with groups of people, she has friends, she's more relaxed now, which I like, and she's able to get to interact with people more. But the problem is, it takes away from the awkwardness of the first movie when you first see Anne and stuff. She still makes mistakes and everything. But when she makes those mistakes, it's not like, the big mistakes that she made last time to where people really got on her case and stuff. It's just kind of like, oh, that's our Anne Shirley type thing. You know what I'm saying? And it feels way more G rated this time around in Kitty than it does in like the first movie. And back with the characters, like I said, like there isn't much character development. It's tiny character development. I mean, it's very tiny. And not only that, but it just feels like none of the other characters in this movie is really doing anything. And other than Anne, and at times you kind of forget what she did because so much stuff is going on, but yet nothing really is going on because they skip through it so fast and they rush through it and stuff. Because it's kind of like it's weird. Like you don't see that much of Matthew this movie or Marilla and everything. Even Diane, who is there, just feels like she's not there and stuff. And you can kind of tell that some of the like actors and actresses were kind of just like, phoning it in because they didn't have much to do or much to work off of. And it's quite a shame because it's just kind of like, I don't know, man. I think, when it comes to L.M. Montgomery, like she said, or at least what I read, she just wanted to make one book and that was it. And so, like, but she made more and stuff. And it's just kind of like, you can tell she put her heart, passion, and mega soul into the first book and everything. But if this is what's based off of, like, the second book, it just seems kind of lackluster. And it's weird. Like I said before, I love Anne with the E. The first season's my favorite, but the second season, not so much. There's just something about these second iterations of the Anne storyline that I just can't like wrap my hands around and stuff. I just feel so uninterested with the story. I hope that it gets better by the third movie and stuff. I mean, it's still a good movie, don't get me wrong, but it's just kind of like everything is just rushed through. It's like something happens, somebody reacts just like a little bit, and then it goes to a completely different scene, and then the same thing again, and the same thing again. And it's just like you need time to like let it slow, let it marinate, and everything like that. Plus, Anne is a more developed character because, like I said before, she's not the way she was last time, but the way she was last time is a whole lot funner. And having her develop that fast is just kind of like a bore almost, especially when you get to the third iteration because they try to make the characters look and feel older because they're going to be 14 then, and they're supposed to graduate school and stuff like that and take the test and develop love and romances and all this other stuff. And it just happens too quickly, it just happens way too quickly, and they're no longer those characters they used to be. And it's weird because they still look exactly the same, except they're wearing fancier adult looking clothes and their hair is put in a way that makes them look older, but yet they're not that old. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out was like, I never knew, well, I should have known this, but I never knew Canada was under British rule back in the day. Like, I should have known that because, the Europeans came from Europe and took over North America from the indigenous people, which was part of America and now Canada and stuff. And I should have realized that because America used to be under British rule until, we got independence and stuff like that. But yeah, Canada was under British rule for a long time. Because I remember seeing this in the first movie, but I don't remember seeing that in Anne and the E. But it's been a long time since I saw that. And so, like, from what I read, Britain just kind of gave up on Canada. They didn't see it as profitable and everything. And so they just let them be them. And Canada never became America. Because supposedly, a lot of people were still loyal to the royal family and stuff, and they didn't want to disrespect that of England and piss them off. And the French Canadians, think I read somewhere that they was afraid of becoming an even smaller minority if they would have joined with like America and stuff. So wow, like who knew? But like when it comes to this movie, like when it first starts, you see what is it? I think it's Matthew, and I think it rained, and so they're like, and scared of rain, stuff like that, and he notices like there's like a drip or something like that, so he wants to go and fix it. So he's like on the ladder. And of course, some shenanigans happen because it's very kiddie version and stuff. And so the ladder falls down and he's dangling from the roof and he's climbing on the roof, dangling from it. Marilla comes back. She tries to like save him. But then when she gets outside, Anne is there and she helped him with the ladder. But the way Martin Sheen plays it is very, very, very silly and everything. And so this is supposed to be a much lighter version of like Anne with Green Gables and stuff. And it is hard if you're coming off the Netflix version because that's so much darker. But basically, it just revolves around Anne being at school for the majority of the time. She's now competing with Gilbert constantly because him and her are the two smartest people in school. And so, like, she'll get an A and he'll get an A, then she'll get an A and he'll get like an A plus, then she'll have like two pluses and stuff like that. Gilbert in this version is still very much a butthead, a prankster, but he is starting to warm up to that of Anne because he is starting to like Anne. And so it's kind of like he's constantly trying to do things that to get her attention, and even to the point where she gets him in trouble for knocking over an apple, and then she also takes the blame for it, like voluntarily, just so she can stand next to him and like write on the chalkboard, because even she's now starting to develop feelings for him. Because Diane was making fun of her at first, teasing her, talking about how, he likes you and this and that. And she's all like, no, I don't like him. But then she starts to develop feelings. And you know how that is when somebody says, oh, so-and-so likes you, and you don't like them. But then in the back of your mind, you're like, well, if this person likes me, maybe I should try it. And so a lot of girls at school have crushes on that of Gilbert, and one of those people is Diane. And we see on her face, she doesn't have to say it, but we see it on her face, she doesn't like it when Anne starts to like him back. Like, she's really sad about that. But then Anne can spot that and be all like, Gilbert, I can no longer be your friend or anything closer to you and stuff like that, which pisses him off because he literally just saved her life as she was going down the stream in the river. And he literally saved her all until she was all happy and everything until she saw that of Diane's face. And then she just broke Gilbert's heart and everything. But yeah, it's mostly just her at school and, just trying to one up him and everything. And then you have the teacher, Mr. Phillips, which, okay, this is what's confusing me. And with the E, he is so much more different. Okay, he's different. Right? And I don't know what he is in the novel or how he is and stuff because of the fact, like, Wikipedia says that he is dating openly this one girl named Prissy something, right? That's what Wikipedia said. Now, this also happened in Anne with an E. They also say that he spells Anne's name wrong and leaves the E out. That's something he did in the Netflix series. In this version, none of that is present. He doesn't misspell her name, and he's not dating none of the students. Thank God. If that's what really happened in the novel, I'm glad they took that out. But I'm thinking, is Wikipedia correct, or are they just going off the Netflix version? Because I can't find nothing on that Prissy girl, and nothing in this series, nothing in the original series, and nothing else online. It just all comes from Anne with an E. And so he leaves and everything, and leaves them without a teacher until they get the new teacher. Mrs. Stacy and everything. And Mrs. Stacy is, of course, a female teacher that Anne takes a liking to. And normally she looks at her as like a mentor type thing. But here in the movie, it's not so much that. She likes her and everything because she's so exuberant and so outgoing and stuff. But you don't get that whole sense of teacher, mentor mentality. Not like the Netflix version or any other version and stuff. And so Miss Stacy is just very different. They're like in the next movie, she'll wear pants and everything. And so she's fast talking like Anne. She has them doing like PE classes, something they never done before. And it's like, you don't. I remember Netflix, they both had a passion for writing or something like that. But like Anne was reading some kind of book that was written by a guy about, it was something about girls kind of like dumbing themselves down or something like that. And what's the name told her, gave her some advice. That was the mentor part that I did see in this movie. But other than that, I didn't see much more. It's just something they quickly addresses and quickly get away from it and stuff. And that does become very irritating. We also get to see the whole famous Anne makes the pie thing and puts the wrong ingredient in. And it was just done so quickly. And even when she made a mistake, Marilla, with her stern voice, wasn't stern enough, but it still upset Anne. And so the relationship between those two is so much better. But the relationship with Matthew is deteriorating because he's now getting sick. When they went into like the woods, he could not remember where he was at, and it scared the mess out of Anne. And Michael Sheen played that way very well, like him delusional and delirious, not knowing where he's at, and despite being a conspiracy theorist, he's a really good actor and stuff like that. And so, but then it's like with the whole Matthew thing, it's just once again they quickly gloss over his whole illness type thing. It's like it's brought up, we see it for a little bit, and then they quickly go away from it. And then there's the whole thing with her and Diane. Diane is supposed to be this very proper type girl. We always see her walking with a book on her head, to have like proper balance and stuff. And she invites Anne over to like her place to sleep over. And that's when we get to meet Josephine Barry. See, the thing is that it was a cute scene where the girls go in the woods and it's cold and they think there's a ghost there, so they run home and everything, and they think the ghost followed them at night. And Diane is terrified, and Anne's gonna go look for like the ghost and everything, but couldn't find it. Thought she went in Diane's room to go back into bed, but she went to Josephine, woke up in the middle of the night and scared the crap out of that old lady. It pisses off that of Diane's mom. Now, it sucks that Diane's mom is being nasty to Anne again, after she saved her daughter's life. But she's not being nasty like she was last time. Also, for some reason, Diane's mom looks different for some reason. I don't know why. It looks like two different actresses. But anyway. But, she talks to, like, do her apology thing the way she does to, like, that of Josephine. But she doesn't apologize the way she does in the first movie, like, over-exaggerates and everything. So it takes away the fun of it, But then Josephine takes a liking to Anne. And then when, what was it, Josie Pye dared Anne to, like, climb on top of that shed building. Anne was about to do it until Josephine made her get down and talking about how, you shouldn't let kids like tease you and all this other stuff. Because the thing about Anne is that Anne feels like she needs to defend herself because she's been treated badly all her life. And she's not going to let nobody talk down to her. And if you dare her to do something, she has to, do it in the sake of her honor and everything like that. I just wish it came across verbally a whole lot more. Like her like defending herself other than just saying, my honor is at stake and like stuff like that. But like, then of course there's that ending thing with her and Gilbert, and he saves her because she was doing some type of play type thing outside near the river, and she laid on like a plank of wood, and it got pushed too far out and the rampants pulled her down, and she's scared, everybody else scared. Gilbert saves her, and then after he saves her, like, look dude, can't be friends. I ain't never talking to you again. And the thing about Gilbert, and yes, he did develop, but I like the Gilbert more in and with an E, because they changed Gilbert big time in Anne with the E, to where he was no longer a prankster, youthful boy who was just smart. He was more of a gentleman type person who wanted to be like a doctor in that version. And it's like, here, like I said, it's very much like the books, and like, wanting to like, be kid like type version. But the thing is it always makes you wonder what the world did Anne see in him, like when you watch like this version, because he's very much a juvenile and stuff, other than him being smart. I can see why she likes the Gilbert and Anne with the E, just not this one. So while yes, this is a very charming movie and it's pretty good and everything, I just like the first movie a whole lot more. Oh, and I completely forgot. There is the whole her hair turning green thing and having to chop her hair off. Because like a peddler came over and she bought like some hair dye or something like that. But we never get to see her meet the peddler. It's just she's doing something one day and cleaning, and then next thing you know, the next scene is Marilla looking at her hair and it's green and stuff like that, and it's more in detail in the Netflix version. So it's like Marilla tries to wash it out, but then she has to cut it. But we never get to see her chopped up, mangled hair and how she has to deal with that. Instead, it's just the next scene. 5 days has passed. She's back at school finally, and she's wearing like something over her head to cover it up. But like none of the kids take it off. We don't get to see her mangled looking hair. We don't get to see her expression of how she hates her hair looking that way. And then the next scene, months must have passed by because her hair is long again. And it's just like they gloss over that so much. And it's just like, why not have us experience it more like the Netflix version? Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye.